Nowadays, there's a general tendency to talk about skin concerns without considering the general condition of the skin. But today I want to talk about a holistic approach to skincare. I'll introduce you to the principles of traditional Korean skincare and tell you what sets it apart from your regular Korean skincare products. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Odile and I work as an art director in the beauty industry in Korea. On this channel, I use my professional experience to bring you informative content on Korean beauty trends and history. So if you'd like to take your K-beauty knowledge to the next level, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. This video is meant to be an introduction to Hanbang skincare, a particular branch of Korean skincare based on the principles of traditional Korean medicine. Part 1. What is Hanbang skincare? Hanbang is a word that translates to Korean medicine, and Hanbang skincare is a particular branch of Korean skincare that involves the use of herbal prescriptions and formulation techniques based on the original principles of traditional Korean medicine, or TKM. Traditional Korean medicine is a holistic medical practice that views the human body as a balanced system of interconnected parts, where each part works together with the others to maintain the natural balance of the body. When we have a good balance, our body is healthy and strong, but when this balance is broken, the whole system is affected, and the body becomes more vulnerable to diseases. Likewise, traditional Korean medicine sees skin concerns as the signs of a physiological disharmony of the body. So the main goal of Hanbang skincare is not treating specific skin concerns, but rebalancing skin to boost its resilience and self-recovery power. And for this reason, the main application of Hanbang principles is in anti-aging skincare. In particular, the anti-aging lines of Hanbang skincare brands are based on the theory of aging and life cycles of traditional Korean medicine. And if you'd like to learn more about it, I made a video on the topic last year. Unlike regular cosmetics, Hanbang skincare products are not classified by skin types, but by patterns of disharmony identified through TKM principles. However, if you have combination or oily skin, I think it's good to keep in mind that Hanbang skincare lines for very mature skin are oilier than the ones for young skin. Having said that, there are two types of Hanbang skincare products out there. First, we have Hanbang inspired products, meaning regular skincare products that also incorporate some herbs used in traditional Korean medicine, but processed in a modern way. A good example could be Abib. Secondly, we have products that, besides using traditional ingredients, are also formulated and processed following authentic principles of traditional Korean medicine. A good example is the history of Hu. Just so you know, in this video I will only cover the characteristics of traditional Hanbang skincare. Part 2. Is Hanbang skincare science-based? Many people don't know about this, but South Korea has a dual healthcare system in which traditional Korean medicine is considered legally equivalent to Western medicine. Studies reveal that Western medicine is overall used the most, but some chronic conditions are more commonly treated using TKM therapies. Like Western medicines, TKM remedies are regulated as part of the Korean Pharmaceutical Act, the Korean Pharmacopoeia, and the Korean Herbal Pharmacopoeia. So if you think that any person can mix a couple of herbs and sell them as medicines, you're absolutely wrong. And yet, like all forms of Oriental medicine, traditional Korean medicine is also classified as a form of alternative medicine. The main obstacle that is keeping Oriental medicine from being accepted as an evidence-based science is that the theories that these therapies are based on are philosophical beliefs originating from the observation of natural phenomena. And since these abstract concepts cannot be proven using methods accepted by modern science, Oriental medicine and traditional Korean medicine are classified as alternative medicine. But this doesn't mean that TKM therapies are not effective. Did you know, for example, that a therapy based on Oriental medicine principles even won a Nobel Prize in 2015? So we can say that although the mechanism of action of TKM therapies is not clearly understood from a modern scientific perspective, we do know that some of these therapies produce clinically observable results. When it comes to beauty products, even though Hanbang Cosmetics are inspired by the principles of traditional Korean medicine, they're legally regulated as standard cosmetics. For consumers, this has two benefits. One, Hanbang Cosmetics should comply with the same safety standards of regular cosmetics. And two, like what happens with regular cosmetics, Hanbang Cosmetics with specific functions are recognized and regulated as functional cosmetics. Functional cosmetics are a category of products with specific functions that promise to change the condition of skin or hair, as opposed to products that are simply hydrating. If you're familiar with Japanese skincare, you can think of functional cosmetics as the Korean equivalent of Japanese quasi-drugs. In Korean skincare, we find only 5 types of functional cosmetics: whitening, anti-wrinkle, sunscreens, rinse-off acne treatments, and skin barrier repairing products. If a brand wants to claim a product as any of these properties, they're required to submit to the Korean authorities documentation that shows the safety and clinical effectiveness of the product before they're allowed to sell it. Plus, the effectiveness should be evaluated by independent testing agencies appointed by the government to avoid any potential bias. So we can say that even though you might personally think that traditional Korean medicine is not a valid science, it doesn't really matter because the efficacy of Hanbang functional cosmetics is tested and evaluated following modern scientific standards. And if you want to know how to recognize a functional cosmetic, there are 2 main things to look out for. If you have access to the physical product, you should look out for this text on the packaging of the product. It's mandatory for all functional cosmetics, and it allows consumers to know if a product was confirmed to have the effect it promises. If you don't have access to the physical product, find the product on the Korean website of the brand. At the bottom of the product page, you should find a table like this one that summarizes the technical information of the product. Once you locate this table, you should check the functional cosmetics section. If you see this word next to it, it means the product is not a functional cosmetic. If you see any other word, it means it's a functional cosmetic. You can obviously use a translator to help you out, or if you prefer, you can just screenshot this video and compare it to the website. Now, some brands get a little creative with the design of their website, so sometimes it can be hard to locate this information if you don't speak the language. But 8 out of 10, you should be able to find this table at the bottom of the product page. Part 3. How Hanbang skincare is made. What's the difference between authentic Hanbang skincare and regular cosmetics formulated using traditional herbs? 2 things. 1, how the ingredients are processed, and 2, the principles used to formulate the product. But let's take it step by step. Hanbang remedies are made using substances that are either of plant origin, mineral origin, or animal origin. The active principles and effectiveness of these substances depend on a variety of factors, but mainly the quality of the raw materials, so where the ingredient was sourced, its growing environment, harvesting conditions, etc., and how the material is processed. These are all factors that are known to affect the bioactive content of natural ingredients. For example, depending on the age of the plant and how it is processed, ginseng can be classified into fresh, white, or red ginseng. All these varieties have different chemical compositions, different active ingredients, and different properties. And despite these differences, in the ingredient list of a product, all these varieties are listed under the same inky name, Panax ginseng. So it's very important for consumers to pay attention to the product description and the kind of information a brand discloses. In this case, for example, if a company knows a little about traditional Korean medicine, they know that different varieties of ginseng have different properties. And they also know that if they want to be taken seriously in a country with a long history of herbal medicine, they have to disclose this information. Lastly, I wanted to discuss how Hanbang skincare is formulated because it's the main thing that sets it apart from regular cosmetics. Unless a product is created mainly around a single ingredient, Hanbang remedies usually consist of a complex combination of multiple substances with different properties that work synergistically together. The principle used to formulate Hanbang skincare products is called the monarch, minister, assistant, and envoy. And to help you understand this principle, I will use as an example the formula of the Wanyu Imperial Youth First Serum by History of Wu. The monarch, minister, assistant, and envoy is the main formulation principle of traditional Korean medicine. It's usually applied to herbal medicines, but it can also be applied to topical treatments like skincare. According to this principle, formulas should be composed of 4 elements. The monarch. These are the main active principles of a formula and have the strongest bioactive properties. Next, we have the minister. These are ingredients with similar properties to the monarch that are used to enhance the effectiveness of the main active principles. Next, we have the assistant. These are ingredients with a triple action. They target secondary symptoms of a condition, they eliminate side effects of the monarch and the minister, and they display opposite effects of the main actives to reduce potential irritation. Lastly, we have the envoy. These are the substances that harmonize the actions of the previous ingredients and guide them to reach the right organs. You can find some simple remedies that contain only the main actives of this formula. But this is the standard formulation method used in traditional Korean medicine. This method is especially important because it affects the final effect of a formula. And from this you can understand that when it comes to Hanbang skincare products, you can't just simply look at the ingredient list of a product and try to guess the properties of that product based on the properties of each single ingredient. 1, because you don't know how the ingredient was processed, and 2, because you don't know how that ingredient was used in the formula. In traditional Korean medicine, there are different herbal compounds made of the exact same ingredients but in different ratios. And this affects the final effect of the formula. Which brings me back to my point. It's very important to pay attention to product descriptions and a brand's marketing choices. If you see a company promoting a product using words like based on an ancient herbal remedy, but they don't tell you the name of that remedy, or at least how it's composed and the effect it's supposed to have, that should be a red flag. It's like a company launching a new phone and saying, meet our new phone. It's got the best camera on the market, but we're not gonna tell you the actual specs, sorry. You just have to take our word for it. So remember, don't fall for exotic marketing. This formulation principle is also the main reason why small companies struggle to create Hanbang skincare brands. This type of formulation requires the collaboration of cosmetic chemists and traditional Korean medicine specialist, because it's not something that cosmetic chemists are required to know as part of their job. And this means a company has to set up a special research and development team just for these products, which adds up to the final cost of these products, along with expensive raw materials, elaborate processing methods, and so on. And if you're wondering if there's a middle ground between generic products with sprinkles of random herbs and elaborate formulas with high-quality ingredients developed by top-class researchers that cost one arm and a leg, stay tuned for part 2 of this introduction to Hanban skincare that will be out next Friday. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!